You're listening to Shoe In, covering the ins and outs of all things footwear, from sneakers to heels, loafers to slippers, and every type of shoe in between. Brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. And now your footwear insiders, Matt Priest and Andy Polk.
Not today. Your footwear insider is Jasmine Pendergrass here. And we have changed roles for this episode. It is the woman takeover today. I am hosting with Matt's lovely daughter, Madalyn.
Oh, thank you.
And we also have her friend Molly here. Hello, Molly.
Hello.
And we're going to be interviewing the guys today, Matt and Andy. So they're going to be following our lead.
Oh, no.
So this will
That's
be
scary. We're in for a ride?
Yeah. This will be an interesting shoe episode, but we can get started. So we'll take it easy on them and just ask everybody, what do you have on your feet today? What shoes are we wearing today? It's kind of like a part of our what you got, what you get.
We're starting out with what you got, what you getting.
Basically.
Andy can go first.
I actually have Adidas Boost on. I've been wearing these a lot, but I actually
new shoes.
Well, actually, I bought these 2 years ago. This is my consumer story. Matt and I are complete opposites. Maybe that's why we're good on this show together. Matt will buy something and put it on before he leaves the store.
Yes.
Most likely.
That's true. I wear it out, man. Wear it out.
I bought these are Sperry Gold Cup. I haven't worn Sperry in like a year or so. So I bought these 2 years ago, and it's on one of their sales. These are the super nice high end stuff.
Yeah, they are.
But I've been having feet problem lately, so I've been trying to wear Boost and knits because the knits allow your foot to expand and contract. It just fits a lot better. So I tried these on this morning, and disappointingly they did not fit because I got the narrows instead of the wides.
Oh, no.
So Matt, I hope you can wear these.
Oh, thanks, brother.
Same sizes. And I hope that our friends at Sperry will feel my pain and send me a brand new pair because I did actually buy these shoes. So I'm not just asking for something free. I actually bought.
Me up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of BOGO. It's their discount anyway. So,
Hey, they fit nice. I like them.
There you go.
Thanks,
Yeah, I
man.
was gonna say that you could have worn to our sourcing.
So if I got the Boost, maybe I'll be getting some more of these Sperry Gold Cups in a wide size.
We have a
please.
Wolverine
Nice.
executive who's now our chairman, so
Yes.
that could be in your future, Andy.
Help me, Mike. Help me.
Yes.
So speaking of Mike, Mike hooked me up. What I'm wearing right now are Sperry Bionics, which is a shoe that is woven from recycled plastic bottles. So it's
Very
an upper
nice.
with recycled plastic bottles.
See
So it's I'm wearing
cool.
Sperry's too.
Well, I feel like I'm outside of the club, but I am still within our membership. I have a pair of Michael Kors sandals on today.
I thought the questions were just for us, Jasmine. We didn't ask you what you're wearing.
Are these comfortable?
I would
They are
enjoy
comfortable.
it.
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
They
What do you
look
have on? Michael Kors.
Yeah, I have some Michael Kors sandals on today, which I love. Did you just sniff his shoe, Andy?
I did.
I wear
wouldn't
those
recommend
socks. I don't wear socks with these. So.
I don't either. You're not supposed to.
All right, so
What's next, ladies?
What's next, Molly? What we got?
All right, so our next question is, what pair of shoes do you remember getting when you were a kid?
Like the iconic, remember going to the shoe store and picking them out.
Matt will know right off the bat.
Yeah.
He probably has 7 different types. We'll be here all day. That's the last question you guys get to ask. Matt's just going to roll it off. Go for it, Matt.
Gosh, let me see. Let me think. I did go to Kenny Shoe. That's where I went, and it was in the mall. Yeah, Jasmine
What
looked at me
is
like, what? Kenny? Kenny from what's that cartoon?
South Park.
South Park. No, Kenny, which is gone, and it would have to be my dad. I've talked about this before. My dad was always the go-to on shoes. He would always buy what I asked to buy. It was always a pair of Jordans. Probably that's the first time I had like a pair of shoes that had a ton of value in my mind was probably Jordan 3s. So that would be my go-to.
My Jordans were hand-me-downs from our brother from another mother named Stuart. Mm-hmm. Stuart was an interesting guy. He would also we had a pool. It was like above ground, but it was like a big one. Mm-hmm. It's like the redneck Riviera type pools that were like
I know
they weren't
well.
circular, but they were like elongated.
Know them well.
And my dad built this deck, and he used to walk on top of like the largest kind of into the deck and jump into the pool.
Oh.
It's probably not advised, but that's the kind of guy Stuart was. So I got a pair of Jordans from him. We didn't have the money to buy the Jordans, or my dad was just like, that's a waste of money.
Right.
And which now
And he passed
I
that
say
down.
that. No, I say that too. Funny story, and actually I've never shared this, but when I was growing up, I in middle school, Birkenstock were huge at the time, right? So this is like way early 90s, and all my friends were wearing Birkenstock, and I wanted to get a pair, but they were pretty pricey. I mean, so we went. My mom and dad were like, "You're gonna get the knockoff." So we went to Shoe Show, and I got the knockoff Birkenstocks.
What's the knockoff Birkenstocks?
I don't know. Birkenstocks.
Birkenstocks.
Were the Birkenstocks still like, it was still sandals that were
it was
popular
it was
then?
so
Okay.
it's not changed, but it was like just the two strap.
Yeah. Okay.
And the cork outsole,
Yeah.
and I actually didn't get a pair of real Birkenstock until probably like my junior year of high school. I finally got a pair, and those things lasted 6 years. And I bought the glue, so I would re-glue my own Birkenstock.
The cork
on the glue?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then eventually they just fell apart.
And they offer that?
Disintegrated. You can buy it.
Oh, okay, cool.
I mean, I think I bought it in one of the stores or something like that, but I have not. But that was the thing is, and I don't know what Birkenstock is on tariffs. I don't know if that impact price or whatever, but it was just like one of those things where I really wanted it, and in some ways it was impractical because I was in middle school. I needed sneakers so I could run around and scuff up, but that was like the trend at the time, and that was funny to see it happen again, where people are now back into Birkenstocks.
That's interesting, Andy, because I'm 2 years older than you, and so I think I got my first Birks my freshman year in college, was been junior in high school, and it was at this hippie kind of hemp place on Hillsborough Street in Raleigh, across from NC State, and I rolled in there and got my first Birks, and they lasted forever. So yeah, those were some iconic ones.
Cool.
Okay. Madalyn,
All right,
what
I
you
never
got
knew
next?
any of that.
You're gonna learn a lot about your old man here.
Yeah. What's your favorite pair of shoes that you've seen in a movie, like the Back to Future shoes, Cinderella's slippers, the Goonies slick shoes, or even Luke Skywalker's boots?
Oh, interesting. Man, I mean, the iconic ones are the Back to the Future ones. Those have driven Nike to develop the Hyperdaps and those self-lacing ones. Beyond that, I'm a Batman nerd. We talk about this. We play it up a little bit. I'm not that into it, but
yes, he is.
but his boots are pretty awesome. The boots that he has on in his movies. So those have been ones that I've always wondered, like, who makes those boots, and what kind of bat tricks are within his boots? Does he have self-deploying deodorizers? Do they shoot out batarangs from his boot? Those are all things I wonder as I'm watching the 18 different Batman movies that have come out since 1989.
I mean, you have some Batman shoes already. I mean, they're not.
Yeah.
The
I
ones
do.
from the
I have
movie.
some Puma Batman collabs, which I have displayed in my office, and then I have some Batman Crocs. So
Those are the
Batman
favorite.
Crocs?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
I
do.
haven't seen
Crocs
those ones
sent to
yet.
me, and I wear them around the house.
Gotta
like,
wear them tomorrow.
like a middle-aged man who has no style.
I mean, I don't know what's influenced my buying from movies or whatever, but I think back, Footloose was a big movie where you see them dancing and you have a lot of that. I can't remember if they're just wearing like Chucks or what they're wearing, but it just made me go back. Like, do you remember Teen Wolf?
Totally.
What was he
Michael J. Fox.
wearing? It's like white sneakers that was all the rage then, or what?
I'd have to. There's a lot of those movies in era in the mid '80s, early '80s where they're wearing the Cortez or the Superstars. So that's where I see it in those movies.
I think. For me, the movie placement growing up was much more like Coke and like that kind of. There was like every now and again there'd be a product placement of a Nike or something like that in a movie, but I think in general, wardrobe just chose whatever was stylish at the time.
Right.
Now, what's really interesting now is, getting off subject, but we talk to people like H.H. Brown who are providing shoes for a lot of TV shows, and I think now that's the big trend is when we were growing up, movies, I went every Friday night, right?
Yep.
I think the movie was like $5.50 or something like that. I don't know what, like $13 an hour or something.
Yeah.
Crazy. But so I would meet my friend. We didn't have cell phones, so we were like, we're gonna meet at 7:15, and you didn't have. I might get on a little tangent here, but you get a phone in your hand nowadays, and it's like, I'm gonna be 10 minutes late. I'll just text them and let them know. Like, don't be a jerk. Show up on time. You say you're gonna be at 7:15. Show up at 7:15. it's not an excuse to have a phone and text and say you're going to be 15 minutes late just
Right.
because you're not respectful of my time.
Right.
So 7:15 we meet up. We went to the movies. The movie started at 7:30. Yada yada yada. But nowadays it's like people are staying home more. So I actually think the more influencing is the television, right? And I know that like H.H. Brown has done stuff with Quantico and with that Sherlock Holmes CBS series.
Oh yeah,
I don't
Watson.
know. Something.
Elemental or something.
And so I mean, it even goes down. I think in today's terms, product placement or whatever is definitely like Netflix driven and like HBO driven.
Yeah.
Series and things like that. So
Yeah.
and I think
there's
actually one of the biggest ones that I saw recently was Master of None, which is on Netflix, which is an amazing series. They only did 2 seasons, but he talks about his sneakies on one of those, about his Nikes and how much he loves his sneakies. So like that kind of stuff, I think.
Right. There was the movie Wild with Reese Witherspoon where she backpacked the Pacific Coast Highway, the PCH, in Danner boots, and she
Right,
throws them off the cliff or whatever because her feet are killing her.
I didn't watch the movie, but I seen a lot of good photos of that.
Yeah, so Danner actually wore Danner in real life, and then they obviously provide the product for the movie, which was interesting. I know Danner was very proud of that, which was a cool moment for them.
I think mine is more like TV shows, like Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, yeah.
Like definitely introduced me to high end heels for sure. It made me want like $800 shoes that I could not afford.
Exactly.
Barely
Covet.
can afford now. So like, but I think mine is more. And besides like Mike, and I think Nelly had a song called Air Force Ones that came out when I was in middle school, and I had to have multiple pair. Like,
thank you, Nelly.
Yeah. I don't know. He should have talked about a partnership before he came out with that song, but I don't think he did.
Yeah, I was at a party with Nelly once, a shoe party.
Really?
He was at a shoe party.
I'm trying to think if I remember you telling me that. Okay.
Now you know.
Cool. All right.
I said it's getting hot in here, and he looked at me like I was an idiot.
All right. So the next question for you guys is, so it's pretty commonly known that teenagers are really hard to shop for. So if you had to go to a store and buy a pair of shoes for a teenager, what what style would you get?
So I have a teenager, and he's a little younger. I have one sitting to my left. I would probably go to a Foot Locker and see what is kind of prominently placed at the front kiosk or display, and figure out that's probably what's in style. That's I'm a Foot Locker, Champs, athletic guy. My wife might go a different route. So just based on my background, I would probably, I think we're out of the kind of superstar nostalgia era has come to an end for the most part. So I would get something with a lot of air, some Nike with a lot of air. The Nike Moon shoes are really cool. I would get something like that for you, but that's not a problem we typically have.
Yeah,
because
I mean, I
people are
kind of
so
pick out.
generous to us, so.
Oh yeah, and that's interesting.
Which ones would you like to buy for you? Would you like me to buy for you, Madalyn?
I think Vans are really in right now. I don't know.
say that,
yeah, I think every front of I guess not Foot Locker, but in the front of a lot of
They're at Foot Locker too.
They're at Foot Locker. Oh
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're
and the
everywhere.
Kids Foot Locker too. I just went in there.
Oh,
I
really?
was in New York.
Vans is killing it.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
like a whole wall actually.
When
And,
I was growing up, we would just buy a department store, or there'd be like a
Yeah.
local chain that we would buy at. And like Shoe Show would not really have many brands. It would have kind of like off-brand, kind of wholesale shoes that you get really cheap. And that was really before Walmart and Target started selling a lot of shoes, right?
Right.
Walmart and Target used to be just basic average it was almost like a big CVS where you get all this random stuff that you need at your house.
Right.
But you really didn't go there to buy like clothing. Back where I was from, I'm from Monroe, so Belk was founded in Monroe.
Yeah.
So we always went to Belk. We
Yeah.
always went to the mall, and the mall had all those kind of branded kind of stores that were there. But now I go to probably, I guess it's Fair Oaks Mall. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
man.
In Nova.
I like Pharaoh.
And yeah, they have like 2 Macy's, which is weird. That's
One, so there's a history of that. One used to be Hex, and then they built the Macy's on one end, and then Macy's bought Hex, and so they just opened up another Macy's.
And then they got hexed.
Then they got Hex. Exactly.
But I there's like a good Journeys there, and actually Journeys has really good brands where you can walk in.
Great
you
point.
get Fila, you get Birkenstock.
That's where you get a
whatever you
teenager
got.
shoes is at Journeys.
So I think I would go to Journeys.
Life in school.
And I would buy a pair of Vans.
Yeah.
And if I really wanted something cool, then I would figure out. I think customization by the time my kids get to be teenagers are going to be really big.
Yeah.
And I want to mold their minds to be creative. So I've already started with my oldest is 2.5, Charlotte, and she can already take my phone with augmented reality and change shoes on her feet through One of Kicks, I think it is, something like that. So I'm trying to get her into that mindset of doing that. So I think it'd be really cool to use some kind of canvas and make some sort of design or something like that. That's more online, but I think by the time they get to be teenagers, it's all going to be in store. It's going to be some kind of like Build-A-Bear, Build-A-Shoe experience type thing, right?
I can definitely see like because I would pick out like a pair. I feel like Converse and Vans are like always the safest for teenagers. So I feel like the Superstars were kind of like a thing for the moment, even though it's a classic shoe. But I feel like Vans and Converse kind of just like never go out of style. Yeah. And it's like the shoe for everybody. Like my aunt, she's like 50, but she's beautiful and stylish, and she'll wear a pair of Converse, and so will I.
I love it. My aunt is 50, but she's beautiful and stylish. Those two things usually do not go together.
She's twice my age, but we look like great, like
like sisters.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I definitely would go to those two, or I would get like a pair of like Pumas. I feel like Puma does a lot of like young like styles of shoes, but still like trendy.
I think the iconic shoes are the ones that are genderless, not gender specific. In the sense that both Jasmine and I can walk in with black Chuck Taylor All-Star high tops and both be in style, no matter what our background is. How I'm way closer to 50 than she is. So I think those are the shoes that really resonate with people.
Yeah, we were talking about that this morning. Like the cool thing about Converse is that a lot of people customize them, and I've seen people paint theirs, and it's just totally something that they can call their own. And I think, I have a pair on right now, so I love them.
I think honestly, I feel like when we talk to shoe store chain owners, I think they think a lot of the biggest challenge for doing stuff really cool in store is you got to sell shoes, and you have management issues and HR issues, and there's so much focus on that. So ultimately, I think if it's going to happen, these in-store experiences, the brands are going to create it and deliver it for the shoe retailers.
Pop up.
Yeah. But I do think make a shoe kind of trend, even if you're doing it like regionally, where Puma goes around and like teaches you how they make their shoes, and then how you can design things and integrate it and do that, and do a class in a store. I think that's a winning combination. I haven't seen anybody really do that. But when people start to collaborate and do that, I think that's going to be a real win, and it's going to drive people back to stores.
I can see a Converse being like a Build-A-Bear store. Like,
me too.
I can definitely see that, because like it's also a shoe that like I like white Converse, and like you can keep them clean, you can make a really big effort, but it's just like I'd rather just go buy 2 a year. I don't want to keep trying to clean them. So it's like I'll rebuy them anyways. And then like if you have a customization store that's kind of like a Build-A-Bear, and you sell like classic ones in there, I feel like you'll be able to sustain yourself in that store.
It's circular. The founder of Build-A-Bear is a former Payless footwear executive. So she left Payless and created Build-A-Bear. So it all goes back to shoes.
I didn't know
all goes back to
Got out the right time.
That's a point.
Dagger.
Next question.
All right. I don't know how long this question's going to last. But apparently there are shoes for dogs. So what's your opinion on that?
Stupid. Nope. Entirely stupid. They're built. God gave them built-in pads on their feet. They have shoes built in.
Yeah, I wasn't always for sure how much I see people do that a lot in the wintertime. Sometimes I see the dog can't even stand up straight because it can't get, on his four legs
People
with
put
the ice.
shoes on their
Yeah.
feet and
Also
they can't
stupid
stand
dog sweaters.
There was
People love that
yeah, I
stuff.
love-
though.
They
I
have
don't have a
built-in
pet.
apparel and footwear.
Yeah, but it makes them look cute.
Oh my god, most dogs are already pretty cute.
Well, that's true. Okay.
That's way for me. It's just way too niche to like make. I mean, if you do dog shoes or cat shoes or whatever, you got to do something else. You can't do that exclusively. There's not a big enough market of. You're going to be selling in New York and you're going to be selling in LA and that's, maybe Miami and that's about it.
Yeah, this is how Rome falls, right? Like we created these inventions called dog shoes, and now we have a cat spa. We were somewhere in Fairfax recently, and there was like literally a cat day spa just for cats. I'm like,
yeah, it's called my garden hose.
yeah, it's like America is about to fall.
There was It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia did like a segment on like
That's a
slippers for
funny show.
cats, and they put the mittens on the kittens, and the cat kept slipping.
Yeah.
So like the whole joke
sad.
was
It
the
doesn't
cat
make
like
any
slipped
sense.
off the table because he was wearing the mittens. So
Now that I can watch over and over
that
again.
could be a product safety issue.
Let's loop it. We'll just loop it.
All right. I think we can go to our next question.
All right. So, what is your wonkiest pair of shoes? Like, which one is just like, oh, that's crazy?
Wonkiest pair. I mean, when I think of wonk, I think of trade. And so when I think of trade, I think of fabric bottom. When I think of fabric bottom, I think of Chuck Taylors. And so when I go, every once in a while, I get to lecture at Georgetown, the school of business, to a freshman class, and I always say, "Hey, does someone here have a pair of Chuck Taylors on?" And someone always does. And you show them the fabric bottom applied to a Chuck Taylor and how that lowers the duty rate, and people don't know about it. They always wonder. They think it's for traction control or whatever. When you have fabric on the bottom, it's actually the exact opposite of traction. And so that's how I kind of think of wonky when it comes to a nerdy footwear fact on a pair of shoes that everyone knows about, but there's no idea why there's fabric on the bottom of the outsole.
Yeah.
I think of wonky like what's my most like standout shoe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Come
And
on.
I have a pair of like
Now my daughter's mad at me for being such a dummy. 14-year-olds, my goodness, am I right?
pair of Bessie Johnson, and if like Bessie Johnson is a designer. She was like when I was growing up, I wanted to work for her, and she would let her models do like cartwheels down the runway. Like she was like very crazy. So I have a pair of like Bessie Johnson heels. They're like 6 inches. They're like a black and white heel, and they have like almost like confetti on the top of the foot, but it's like rainbow colored. Like it's kind of crazy, but it's really cute and really good for the summertime. But that's like my wonkiest. Like, where did you get those shoes from? But I love those.
I don't have anything like that. No confetti shoes. I think I'm just basic. I have like I have a pair of Cole Haans that I really like that are leather. So just like athletic leather type shoes that I wear every now and again. And then
I think your feelers are pretty cool.
oh, my
Yeah,
feelers are cool
those
that
are
Joe
good.
Passio
Yeah.
got me. Those
Yeah.
haven't actually come out in the market yet. He keeps reminding me I can't take pictures and send it out. So I feel real cool. But they are coming out. But it's corduroy.
Yep.
Yeah,
They
those
use
are
corduroy
cool.
as a material on the sneakers that are coming out. I think fall of this year. So that's probably true. That's probably the most standout I have.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Next.
Okay. So what is your favorite shoe quote? And like Forrest Gump's line, you can tell a lot about a person by their shoes, where they're going, where they've been.
Yeah,
you
that's
have a favorite one?
That's a famous movie because he gets a pair of Cortezes from his mom in it. Shoe quotes from a movie,
Doesn't have to be.
just in general. I don't
Yeah.
know, Andy, you can go first. You're a good quote guy. Andy will see a movie once and he can quote.
To
half
shoe
of
or
it.
not to shoe? I choose to shoe, Socrates. Thank you. I don't know. I don't know any like shoe quotes per se. I think it's funny though. Our president is very into shoes, actually, and I guess he was looking at another prime minister's shoes, and he was like, "Those shoes, big time, those shoes."
I have one though.
Exactly.
Mine is give a girl the right pair of shoes and she can conquer the world. I don't know where that came from, but I totally believe in that because when you have like a good pair of heels on and like you're going to like a meeting or an interview, like it's definitely an extra boost of self-esteem. Or like I bought a pair of sneakers like 2 weeks ago and I just knew I was cool all day long. You know, I knew people were checking out my feet. So yeah, that's like
I like
that. That goes with our.
Well, this is probably mine. I thought of it, but it's got to be the shoes, the Nike commercial from 1989.
Yo, Lawrence Blackman here with my main man, Michael Jordan. Yo, Mike, what makes you the best player in the universe? Is it the vicious stunts?
No, Mars.
Is it the haircut?
No, Mars.
Is it the shoes?
No, Mars.
Is it the extra long shorts?
No, Mars.
Is the shoes it, right?
Nah.
Is it the short socks?
No, Mars.
Money's gotta be the shoes. Shoes. You sure it's not the shoes?
I'm sure, Mars.
What about the shoes?
No, Mars.
Money's gotta
Says
be the
Mr.
shoes.
Jordan's opinions do not necessarily reflect those of Nike. That's an iconic Spike Lee commercial with Michael Jordan from '89. So it's got to be the shoes.
Well, that's funny because one of our questions was, "What's your favorite shoe-related commercial?"
Well, there
So
it
I
is.
guess-
I preempted it.
Okay, that makes up for the other question.
Oh, okay. I'm glad I'm back in your good graces. I'll give you a ride home.
Thank you.
All right, so we got one last question. Who wants to give it to us?
All right. So the last question of today is, what is your favorite shoe brand logo? So like the Nike swoosh or the Adidas stripes or whatever.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that is.
Andy, you got one?
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a really good question because I do think a lot about marketing and communications and how you brand things and how you tag things. I don't know.
You know, mine
Dad's
would
Googling
probably
it.
have to be Fendi. Like, there's something about the Fendi brand that's always been like super modern, even back then. And it's just like two F's combined into each other. But I don't know, it's always been sleek before sleek was like the thing. So that might be like one of my favorite like logos as far as like when I see it on a pair of heels or shoes.
Yeah, I mean, the swoosh is so iconic. It's hard to let's set that aside as kind of an
Yeah, I
outlier
think-
because it's one of the most recognized brands in the world.
I mean, I think for me growing up, and it's just because I'm from North Carolina, but the Jordan brand stands out as like
Yeah.
the end all be all. I mean, if you see that, you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And we all took pride in Jordan being one of the biggest exports from North Carolina.
Yeah.
It was Ric Flair, Michael Jordan, and tobacco from
Wow.
North Carolina.
in that order.
Something like that. Maybe
Right
some
there,
barbecue
yes.
here and there. I don't know. For me, Puma stands out as well because of the
Was it Jaguar or what?
the cat.
It's a puma, people.
Oh.
Is it a jaguar? No, it's a puma.
My bad. I thought that was an actual animal. I just thought that was the company name. Whoa.
That's buffalo. That's buffalo wings made out of buffalo territory, Jasmine. I love that. Is it a jaguar?
It's a large feline, okay?
Good enough.
It's a puma. It's a puma is a type of a cat. Anyway, I like the Converse All Star though. The
Yeah.
I like the
star.
dog in the Hush Puppies.
the Hush Puppies dog.
Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's
He's pretty cute.
My goodness.
Agreed.
Trying to think what else. There's some like that's the thing now is you got your brand logo has to be like very fitting and timely and
Yeah.
like sleek and cool and unique and
Kind of evergreen too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of people always like changing around the logos here and there. Like,
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if it works, it works. But yeah. So
Cool.
I wonder if the Hush Puppy has its own dog shoes.
That's a great question.
I'm sure they've given him
We know the
something.
president of
Yeah.
Hush Puppies. I will text
Yes.
him and ask.
Please, I want to know.
I will text
probably like
him
dog
and ask.
abuse. I don't know about that. Probably get a call from like somebody.
PETA.
Yeah, PETA.
Oh gosh, you don't mess
Exactly.
with them. Yeah.
Yeah, you might call a jaguar, a puma jaguar. They'll be ticked. Oh, indeed.
I'm not abusing them. All right, well, thanks, guys.
Great line to end on.
Are you guys going to end it?
Your questions.
You gonna wrap it up?
Yeah, thanks, girls. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for listening to our interesting episode. This
Very
week.
interesting.
We
Yes.
kind of switched things up. And on behalf of me, Matt, and Andy, Shoein is out.
Shoe-In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.